Cheers, bud.
You gotta wait for the clap.
It's a beautiful sound.
It is.
Dude, we're doing it again. We're back at it, dude.
We're back.
I'm stoked. Dude, we haven't sat down to chat since KOH. But like even at KOH, like we hardly talked.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's like
it was nonstop.
It's wild. It's
yeah, and it's like since we've been back, we've just been I've been just trying to obviously hang out with the family and just kind of get back to regular life.
Well, so I just asked like a second ago before you turned the cameras on. I'm like, did you do anything last night? You're like, no.
Yeah.
No, like, I'm out.
Like made dinner and just hung out basically. But yeah, it's been kind of nice to just have nothing to really worry about. I mean, obviously with the last, 6 weeks have been nonstop for multiple reasons.
We do this like a couple, like with the Clean Desert events, we definitely do the thrash a couple times a year of like, hey, this is like, let's make this a big deal.
Yeah.
And KOH, like, I don't think last year was like that, was it?
No. Well, I mean, we didn't have any involvement. Like we went to KOH, and it was kind of funny because I was thinking about it, like, basically we did the exact same thing last year as far as, like, going out the weekend before, dropping the motorhomes off, because it's a shit show to find
I did the same thing.
Camp. Yeah. But then it's like this year we kind of self-inflicted a little job.
Yeah, we actually had to make things on weekends that we weren't there.
Yeah, so it's like we had to be basically kind of plan it all out as far as being there for drop off of like all this, all the cans and whatnot. But
it's nuts, dude. Like I literally thinking about it, and like I can bring it up to like I was on a sales call. So I was at Generate today, and I could bring up the King of the Canners. They knew about it. Mm-hmm. It's just like cool, like
totally.
Like it was a big deal, and like for us, like we put a lot of effort into it, and it was like that was a lot of work.
Yeah, like
it was not all we were doing, but like on the back end, like we dedicated some serious time into that.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like with obviously the barrel in itself is literally a 55-gallon drum with a piece of metal welded to it with a can crusher that you can get off Amazon. Like that's it. There's nothing to it. Like literally anyone could make it, but with the way that it was like, the VP barrel, and then we got the different companies kind of involved. It was just
the thought behind it. There was definitely more. It wasn't just like, hey, I have a can crusher. It was like, all right, let's find a can crusher that drops the can. Let's figure out it wasn't much, but there was more thought that went into it.
Yeah.
Versus we didn't just show up.
Yeah, totally.
But we did. At the same time, we showed up. Yeah. We're like, let's do this. Let's crush some cans, people. I feel like that's like a Theo Von thing. Like, let's crush some cans, people. Get all into something that's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, and like sitting back and thinking about like the last 6 weeks, whatever. If we even just go back to King of the Hammers, and it's like, holy shit, how do we pull that off? And it was. I mean, I look at it like the amount of cans we got. I honestly thought it was going to be more.
I agree.
Like when I was telling you.
There were bags I didn't collect properly because somebody else threw them away for me. Thank you, King of the Hammers. Your team is too good. I threw some cans. I was on my one wheel. I'm cruising around. I threw some cans off to the side, like bags of trash and cans, off to the side, ran back to get more because I didn't have the trailer with me. And they were gone by the time I got back. Like, literally, it was probably, 8 minutes.
Dude. Yeah, they're on it.
Solid.
They're on it. But yeah, so anyways, this is the Bad Lines podcast. This is our attempt to recap the last, King of the Hammers, which was last weekend. Last 2 weekends ago? Two weekends ago. I don't even know what my name is. Yeah. But, it was a pretty wild ride.
We weren't racing, but there was a lot of work that went into showing up.
I mean, and we could kind of run down the whole thing. Like, you got the VP donated the barrels. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, King of the Canners. Google it. It's a thing.
It's cool.
So,
well, I mean, it was a 6-month plus project.
Yeah.
Like, we started the conversation super early.
Sure.
With a lot of different people, and like, you know, just I don't know. It's just pretty weird that, like, one is they trusted us. Like, we're, hey, VP, we need 20.
Yeah, 20 like, barrels. And then didn't they show up with like not a semi truck, but like a good size
Sprinter van. I mean, it was just full, just bigger, like a box truck. I just dropped them off my house.
Just 20 barrels, and they were just hanging out.
Yeah, and it's like we had an idea, and it's like it worked.
Yeah, but so we made the barrels. Like the last podcast that we did with Dusty Summit and another one with Wes Wheeler, Baja Designs guys. We were actually making the cans, and then so basically that Sunday the plan was to
finish the cans.
Well, finish the cans.
Yeah, we made a lot of the can.
Yeah,
but we had to finish the cans.
And that, like, the whole process in general was like a complete fucking safety third operation. From like all the barrels had like, you know, an inch and a half, 2 inches of like 110 race fuel in them, and so we dumped them out, sloshed some water around in there, and then you're like, dude, we need to burn them off.
Dispose them properly.
Yeah.
Light them on fire.
Yeah. So we
there was a spider inside one of them. We lit them all on fire.
We light them up, and the first one, it was like a nice little tiki torch flame, and then the next one I did, like the barrel like imploded and like mushroom.
we're shooting it like we're gangster rapping, just like this. Like
yeah. Yeah. So that, I think you caught that on your Ring camera.
I'm gonna turn this dude still.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't right now.
I know it is hot, but so we had that whole thing, and I was like, dude, we just need to use the jigsaw, and we drilled a hole in the top so we could get the jigsaw blade in, and then cutting those things out with the jigsaw was complete trash. Like that was the worst.
It was not
project.
the tool.
Yeah,
but it was because we were afraid of getting blown up. Yeah. So like you're like, yeah, let's just put a torch in there and you had the most flame ever.
Yeah.
And we did that when we were trying to like relieve the air of it.
Well, and I think that was on Saturday because we had all the lids.
That was Saturday.
Basically, we were like mostly done. We just had to clean up some of the lids on Sunday.
We had to weld all the little caps that hold the lid on. That was the big, and you had to sand down all of the
so sides. They weren't sharp. But so anyway, so Sunday morning, like we hung out with Dusty Summit. We got dinner at the casino by your house.
That was on Saturday.
On Saturday. And then so Sunday was like, all right, we got to hammer down, finish the barrels, and we're supposed to go drop a barrel off at the Hammer headquarters at Dave's Ranch. No. And then drop the rest of them off at Tommy's. That was the plan on Sunday.
Which mindful. I live in like San Diego, Johnson Valley, Dave's house, hanging out with people, talking to Tommy, coming home. I think I got home at like 11 that night.
Yeah,
and then straight to work the next day. Yeah. You're like, that was great.
No, but the whole thing though. So we're mid Sunday. It's probably like 10 o'clock on Sunday, and I'm like mid jigsaw, or I don't know what I was doing, but I was operating some kind of machinery, and I feel a little buzz in my pocket, and I'm like, oh, like it was a 909 number, I think, and I was like, who's this? Thought it was a spammer, and it was like, hey, this is King of the Hammers. It was Rory at King of the Hammers.
Yeah, at King of Hammers Productions.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Thinking like he's probably wondering what time we're going to be delivering this can.
Yeah. Elliot thinks everyone's dialed in.
Yeah, I'm like,
they've got timers on their phones going like, and their Apple Watch, they're checking in going, why haven't we received the can yet?
Yeah, and so I'm like talking to this guy, and he was cool, but he was just kind of like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? What are we doing? Like we have all these barrels here. Like we're almost done. We're going to load them up soon. And so you're
like, I'm going to be at your shop like in an hour.
Yeah. And then we didn't have the address either. But so he's like, basically I kind of give him the spiel, and he's like, this is the first time he's hearing about any of this. And so long story short,
He congratulated us though, by
No. But he was like, what did he say? I told him, I was like, yeah, Steve talked to Dave, and this was like a couple weeks ago, and we sent him our plan, and Dave was like, yeah, why don't you bring one by the ranch? And so he was like, who's Steve? And I forget, like, this guy's name is actually Steve, not Wally, but everyone knows him as Wally.
Maybe.
But anyways, he's like, all right, well, and keep in mind, we're on like speakerphone with the whole squad.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like me, like I could tell there was other people listening in. But so anyways, he's like, all right, cool. Well, if I don't call you back, we'll see you at the ranch. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then he hangs up and I'm like, fuck, I don't know where the ranch is still.
So, and then your thoughts are like, well, what if he just forgets and we just drive out there? And he's like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what if we're not actually doing this? Like, what are we gonna do with all these barrels? Like, shit. And so, long story short, we talk about it and we're kind of just like, we're still gonna send it, like, regardless. We're going for it. And so we end up finishing the barrels. It's probably like 2 at this point, and then we load them all up. We finally get out of town, and like on the way, I like texted him. I'm like, "Hey, what's the address?" And he sent me back the address, and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
And then we like blasted it in and out and got like dinner because we were starving.
Oh yeah.
This is late. Like we were like eating dinner off the 60, I think, at like. It's like 6. It's like 6 o'clock on a 5 o'clock.
It wasn't.
It was like almost dark.
Well, yeah, and then so we're on our way. We went like through Joshua Tree, and we stopped off at Terry Madden's shop because he was getting a barrel that was set up through Tate. The
Gambler.
Yeah, the Gambler 500 guy, and so. Met with Terry, super cool dude, super awesome shop.
Yeah, he hosts like this rad party, I guess. It's like the Friday before the desert race, or Thursday before the desert race.
Thursday.
So it's super early. Like we wish we could have gone, but like if you went to this dude's shop, it literally feels like you're going. It's the shops you see on like somebody doing like a shop like interview. Like it's worth like somebody taking their time out of their day to go film this.
It was like a museum kind of setup. Like
he's got like cars only him and Jay Leno have. Like he's got stupid stuff, and it's all curated properly. Like just congratulations, that was the ultimate man cave.
Yeah,
and you know it.
Well, no, but it was the best though. So we go in there, and this is like this was like 3 weeks before Hammers.
Something like that.
His car is like a hovercraft, no suspension on it. Like he's
still
like
mid tear down, not put together. Time.
He's just like, yeah, I'm trying to get this thing together, just like the rest of us, right? So then drop it off, keep going to Dave's shop, and so it was explained to me by Wally here. He's like, oh, it's Dave's ranch. So I'm thinking like. It's going to be like, Dave and a couple of dudes, a nice house, big size property is what I'm thinking. Yeah. No, it's like
We're
size.
We're at 007 HQ.
Yeah. It's like the size of a freaking Costco or maybe like a grocery store.
It looks like an RV sales, what do you call it? Sales
lot?
Sales lot. Yeah, car lot.
Yeah.
Because there's RVs just lined up and they're all, curated. It's just. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's a lot of people involved in this.
So we try to go in, like where we parked was right next to, I think it was like the kitchen door. And so there's like, I think there was like 3 or 4 camp chefs. And I was like, shit, we're right at home. Like this is our entrance. Like this is our business as usual. We
can start cooking right now. We know what to do.
And so, anyways, I call Rory and I'm like, hey dude, we're here. Like, I don't know where to go. And he's like, oh, just go in the side door. And we're like, okay, this must not be the right side door.
It's basically a square building.
Yeah. And so we end up going around and we found like someone was outside and we're like, oh, we're trying to meet up with Rory. He's like, oh, come on, I'll meet you, in there. And everybody there was super cool. It was not like 5 people. There's probably like, I don't know, like 30 people in there.
Yeah, 30. Like it's a big warehouse. I mean, you've got probably 15 cars parked inside there. There's a pool table. There's a bar. There's they're talking about their food. They're like, dude, we gained like 10 pounds.
Yeah, they said it was like some like 5-star chef
from Australia.
From Australia.
They flew the guy anyway. So they're just like, dude, you gotta eat the pork. Say if somebody tells you to eat food that you normally wouldn't order, like it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, so anyways, we meet.
We were a little starstruck.
No.
I was just saying, we roll in and like we didn't like. I wanted to eat the food.
Yeah,
I wanted to be like that guy, just like, yeah, this is not important. I'd rather just go eat right now.
But yeah, no. So we meet Rory, and Rory's like, "Oh, I'm actually on my way out the door. Let me introduce you to Chris." He was like a British guy?
Yeah.
So Chris...
and they're all like, this is like probably 7, 8 o'clock at night. They're all having, on a Sunday.
Yeah, no.
They're all having intense conversations.
Yeah, everybody was, like, they literally were sitting down for pork chop dinner. Like, and so it was like the situation where we walk in and like the record scratch, and it was just like everyone like looked at us and we looked at them and we're just like, hi, we're here for...
Well, that's when we like started bringing the can in. Like you and Elliot carry it in together.
No. So back up. You got to back up. So we go to we meet Rory. We meet Chris. Chris is like, "Oh, have you met Dave yet?" And I'm like, honestly, like, no, I couldn't. Like, Wally's met him, but I'm like, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Like, I have no idea who he is. So we walk around, and they have like all these picnic tables that are set up like big long tables, that everybody sits at when they eat. And so Dave's literally about to take a bite of his pork chop, like he's like cutting it, and Chris is like, sees this and he's like, do you have any of the units here? And I'm like,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. He asked if we had and I'm like, yeah, dude, we got like all 20. He's like, all 20? And I was like, yeah, we're just going to drop off one if that's cool.
Yeah,
and he's
they're
like,
panicking.
He's like, why don't you bring one of the units in? So we drive around to the big roll-up door, which is like...
The side door.
The side door that we were supposed to go in, but we're retarded. And so we go in with one of the units and... we set it down, and
again, we're carrying this thing in. Like, I felt like we're on the moon landing. We were about to like get on the shuttle, and we were like, like through the big open door. Yeah. We should have. That would have been a good thing to film.
So
slow-mo walking into the door. Like this is, we built this, and it's like this a piece of tubing, a piece of square tubing welded with steel drum.
And then the barrel we fucking chose was the worst welds. Like, I welded that one for sure. Like, we should have selected, like, hand selected the
original
most optimal, but we didn't even get to that. We forgot that part. Like, all the stickers that were on them, your printer was all screwed up, and so we got 2 done, and we had one for Terry's shop and one for Dave Cole's, but we didn't look at we didn't quality control any of the welds. Anyways, whatever. So we bring it in. Dave Cole and Chris are like walk up to us as we're like carrying this thing in, and he's kind of like checking it out.
By the way, I'm wearing sweatpants.
Oh yeah, no, you had the fucking pants on that I made for you that we had on the podcast. Those camo pants.
Sweatpants.
I'm
wearing sweatpants and like a, what do you call it, jacket? It's not plaid. It's a Dixon flannel. Was it a Dixon
flannel?
It was a flannel. I was wearing a flannel. And so I'm wearing sweatpants and a flannel. I mean, mind you, it's 30 degrees.
Yeah, and we have like an important business meeting here that we didn't even know. We just thought we were dropping this shit off.
I just wanted to be comfortable in the truck the whole drive because I know I was going to be gone for like 5 hours in the car.
But so we end up like, as they walk up, like... It was just this weird thing where everyone that was in the fucking warehouse is now surrounding Steve and I and our ghetto barrel that we made. And we ended up giving them like a Shark Tank pitch of like what we were about and what like our plan was, and everyone's kind of like asking us a couple questions,
and like we have pictures. We're gonna share it. Like there's a circle of like these are who's putting on King of the Hammers. This is the team.
Yeah,
and then China comes over, which China is a rad name by the way. China comes over and crushes a can, and she's like a bigwig in the space.
Yeah,
and it's just like, and everyone's like, yeah, and you're just like, I don't know what we're doing. Like, this is so weird to me.
Yeah, and so basically, but like I remember we kind of gave our pitch, and Dave's like he's in the same flannel you are, but like one with a hood.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like...
There's a difference if you show up in a flannel and you're presenting something that...
But he's like...
You look like a homeless person.
He's kind of quiet, and he's like, I like it. And we were both just like, yes, that's excellent. But so anyways, we hung out for a bit.
It's surreal, is
what
I'll say. Like, it didn't make sense what was happening.
No.
at the time.
No, and it was like we didn't. I didn't even have like time to like be nervous or like overthink it because it all was like we thought we were just dropping it off at his house. I thought we were like going to leave it outside and they were just going to be. It was like okay, cool. Yeah. No, we gave like a full like literally it was like a Shark Tank presentation about.
It was so ridiculous.
But they were stoked on it.
And again, like for them too. Sorry to interrupt, but like. For them, like, they're looking at this, like, could this be a problem for our organization? And Elliot and I are like, we're trying to do something for free for fun.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, could this give us a negative light at all?
Sure.
So they were, like, super involved. And then all of a sudden, Elliot and I were, like overwhelmed because we just weren't expecting, like, anything. You know what I mean? It was like we were literally expecting to, like, hey, these guys are busy. It's right before King of Hammers. We're dropping a barrel off. Let's, like, here you go. Thank you. He was supposed to talk about his podcast and, like, or his live update. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, there's literally, like, 15 to 18 people standing around us. Like, taking time, like, hey, everyone, put your food down. Come over here and talk to us.
Yeah. But then, and like, our whole thing, like, the main thing here is we want to do, obviously, we want the cans not to be, at Chocolate Thunder and Hammertown. Like, we want those to be picked up, but it's like the awareness of like, hey, pack it in, pack it out. That's the whole goal with the cans. And it was like, it wasn't about necessarily the cans that we collected. It was more about like the awareness. And that's what we've talked about this on other podcasts, but our message that we relayed to them was, the guy that's littering the can at Backdoor or Chocolate Thunder is doing that literally everywhere. He goes to the desert. He goes to Glamis. He's just like, done with my beer. Just so we're trying to correct that. And are we going to get them all? No, absolutely not.
But if we can encourage someone to order something like this Sackett deal or for whoever, it doesn't like Sackett. Whoa.
Oh my God. Little malfunction there.
Hey,
We're good.
Technical difficulties. I think I adjusted this to. There we go.
Got too sick with it.
Okay. Anyways, so coming back to it, the Sackett deal, just items like this, and thank you guys for the donations of these. They sent us some out so we could hand them out to people. So again, you just spread awareness of like picking your trash up, and it's. Like I was saying this before, and kind of during our spiel with them, is that like we kind of did a really good job of showcasing a problem before we even showed up. You know what I mean? Which is kind of weird and like sacrilegious to think about. Like oh, you didn't even have to clean up cans. But yeah, no, we made an impact by talking about it and bringing up the topic, and it's not. Again, we're not Boy Scouts. I've had trash fall out of the back of my truck. Like, it just happens. I get it. But it's like, it's like the see something, do something mentality.
Yeah.
And so we saw a problem, and it's like, again, it's not anyone that says it's King of the Hammers, like you're putting this event on, you got to clean it up. Like, no, like you show up to the desert as an adult. You clean up.
Totally.
It's not hard.
Totally. And everyone
like you brought it there.
My thing too is like everyone's like, oh, they're making so much money off of the entry fees and they can afford to clean it all up. And it's like, okay, hold on a second. It's a fucking 2-week long event.
Three
if so if you buy the ticket early, it's what, like $75 and then camping pass, let's call it $100 for a two week long event for most people.
Yeah.
And it's like just basically pack it in, pack it out. But you think about like all the costs that they've got for their people, the insurance, the permits, all that shit for a 2-week long event that you could go. It's like, come on, and so anyways.
And it's not, that's the I would say the point more so, instead of it being, okay, it's 2 weeks long. It's like, you brought the trash.
Correct.
You take it home. Like, just because there's an event going on, this isn't the movie theater where you just throw popcorn on the ground and you don't clean it up. Like that isn't, you're not 15 anymore.
Exactly.
And if you are 15 and you're watching this, like, hopefully you just understand that it's not cool. Like, it's not fun to be in a remote spot and see a bunch of trash. And again, I don't want to be we'll call it a Nazi about it or whatever. But like it's just not like you're an adult. Like figure it out. So, anyways, we did a great job broadcasting the idea, the concept, and ideally, we would just want to make it feel like I want to say the word cool, but like it's not cool to trash your stuff. So how do we broadcast this in a positive light?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and so what we basically like, again, we've talked about this on other podcasts or wherever, but it's like you have the Tread Lightly's, you have organizations like Clean Desert, like the Desert Cleanse Project. These guys are all doing great jobs, but we want to just come in and kind of try to bring in like your Blake Wilkies, your Baja Designs, your who else do we have? Switch Pros, Warren Winch, all these like well-known companies.
Synergy, which is Poly Performance, ARP, Rugged Radios, everyone that's like participating in the space, like more on like. Luckily, like the reason we have connections with any of these companies is because we go off-roading with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like these people get it. Like that, it's a simple way to talk about it, but these people understand what we're trying to preserve.
Sure. And
so therefore they're aligning with our message, which again, I don't want to be a message guy, but it's just, you see something, say something or do something.
Well, and that was like the whole thing, like when basically I started making like the green screen videos on Instagram, and it was 2023, so not this year, but the year before. There was a bunch of cans, and it was like Johnson Valley Crawlers, and I can't remember the name of whoever made the video, but Johnson Valley Crawlers shared it. And then I did like a green screen overlay, and I basically was just kind of talking about like what are the fixes to this? And then we brought it to the forum. Like I wanted to know, hey, what do you guys think we can do to help create it? And everyone was like, oh, we need more dumpsters and we need to have more trash cans. And then you came up.
That video saved.
Yeah, I have the video.
Okay, let's just pause this real here. We're gonna have that video planned.
Valley Crawlers on their reels showing all the trash that folks left over the weekend, kind of the aftermath of KOH. And as somebody that was out there with the Tread Lightly guys on a couple of the mornings picking up Chocolate Thunder and Backdoor, the place is just littered with cans. The racing happens, the after party happens as far as spectators watching the night show, if you want to call it that, and it's just littered with cans again. And so I want to know what everybody thinks we can do to improve the situation. We can sit on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're viewing this video on and bitch about it, but that's not going to get anything done. Let's come up with some solutions and fix the problem. So does that mean that when you sign up for get your King of the Hammers ticket, it comes with some trash bags like they do at the Pismo Dunes? Does it mean that they have a big raffle for anybody bringing in trash? Do they set out dumpsters out there or trash cans in those areas? Let's talk about it. We've got our platform, which is our forum, which is badlinesgoodtimes.com. Scope it out. We've got a thread on there that we're trying to come up with some ideas that we can bring to KOH or get involved with Tread Lightly, Corva, our buddies at Clean Desert, the Gambler 500, Sons of Smoky guys, and see if we can make this better rather than just sit and bitch about how much it's...
That was a great moment, Elliot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Cheers for that.
A year ago. Like almost exactly a year, probably.
But yeah, and so my whole thing was like, okay, we identified the problem. No one likes the trash situation. Like us being involved with Clean Desert and the desert stewardship program, it kind of like hits closer to home because we're like, no, fuck that. We want to do whatever our reach is, however small, we're like, we want to use it for a positive. And so said something, and then fast forward a year later, this whole thing, King of the Canners, with your, can idea.
Yeah, so let's bring that. I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm sure I've said this in the podcast before, but like the can idea was like developed because trash is too broad. Like it's not. Here, give me a can. What do you think? Can you throw it? You got this?
I'm gonna get beer all over you.
Oh, just throw it. There you go, bud. So, thank you, Sackett. These little tools are very... It's basically a potato bag, Jesse. But they refined it a little bit better than a potato sack.
Yeah, a little bit.
But so the king of the canners idea and the way I would approach and look at anything like this is trash is too broad. It's too big of a subject. Literally, this shoe I'm wearing that's a very useful tool right now, you call it a shoe. If you saw this sitting in the dirt, that's trash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just it. Like, trash is just too random. And, bro, that TV is rad, right?
Yeah.
You see that in the desert? It's trash.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too granular, whatever you want to call it. That's probably not the right word.
Granular?
I just threw a word out there. Okay, I'm just trying. It's too broad. It's too... it's just not narrow enough for people to get behind or understand.
Mm-hmm.
So my concept has always been like, all right, well, like cans, again, that was the number one thing I brought out to the desert. It's the number one thing I see in the desert. It's the number one thing I picked up on the cleanups as a trash guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something of monetary value. There is a value to this piece of can. It's literally written on it per state what they're going to reward you at.
Sure.
And we were able to collect them and make money. Make money. We were able to collect them and turn them into money, but I couldn't turn my shoe into money,
Sure.
And the reason I say that, and again, it's not about the money. The money is like literally the least part of this.
Yeah, we lost money on this one, but it was not a good business.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this business model out like so fast. We're 2 years deep.
No, but that wasn't the point.
The point of is it was getting people to listen. That was it. Like, how do you get people to see the problem and react to it? Well, people like money. People drink cans.
You keep telling me about the whole like red car thing.
Yeah,
and that's
a great analogy. My boss Matt brought it up to me. Thank you, Matt. I'm sure you don't watch this, but it was if you drove to work today, and say you live in LA, right? You drove to work today, and you're going to see a ton of cars. And if I go, how many red cars did you see today on your way to work? I don't know, like 4. You throw a number out there. Well, if I told you I was going to pay you $20 a car, you're going to tell me there was 43 cars that you saw this morning, and you're going to get your money. Same concept. It's no different. And again, thank you for bringing that up. It's not, and again, it had nothing to do with the money. It was to get your attention. That was it.
Sure.
And it worked.
Sure.
It was solid. It was a solid plan, and people got behind it. They could understand it. They could see it. It was fun. Kids love to pull can crushers. I loved to pull the can crusher when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You freaking, that was a Saturday morning. You go collect cans around the house, whatever, and you go crush them all or whatever. It's like, it was, I don't know. I thought it was a really cool idea. Obviously, it sunk in. We got people, we got companies behind it. Can we just say all the companies?
Yeah.
Did we say that already?
So
it's VP Fuels.
Yeah.
Amazon, thank you for charging me normal pricing in Prime. We had Ball Designs, Warren. I don't know. It's not Warren Winch. It's just Warren as a company.
Industry.
Yeah, Synergy was behind it.
Poly Performance,
which is Synergy.
And they even gave us a whole bunch of these trash bags too that we gave out to a bunch of people.
Again, if you got one of those, any company can get behind this, and like I'm sure Sackett, I don't technically know who, but like they can print your company's name on it, dude. Strickler Insurance could have their own trash bags, and you might see them soon. We
actually are going to get set up with Sackett and have our own bad lines.
Well, you could join ours.
Yeah. Anyways, but no. This is not an app. But so ARB, ORW, SDHQ,
Offered Warehouse, SDHQ,
Switch Pros, Rugged
Radios.
And then
let's call out the number one cans were from
Ultra 3.
Well, yeah, Ultra
100% Ultra 3. We rolled up that. If you don't know,
crushed it.
I've been to King Hammers many of years, and I didn't even know. Yeah, I haven't been there. I missed it, but I didn't even know about Ultra 3.
It was epic.
It was.
I was telling Randy from Road and Truck today. I was like, dude, there was like 2,000 people there.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, he was like, really? And I'm like, he's like you say you look at a picture. I'm like, there was like 100 plus people in the center. And then it was like 10 deep.
Yeah.
Around the entire circle. I'm like, I'm not good at math, but there
yeah.
was a lot
So
of people.
it was actually through the dude that I got the Tundra from, Brian Harry Johnson, off the forum. We were talking about it on the forum thread, like, hey, if anybody knows any companies, he's like, hey, you should hit up the Ultra 3 dudes. And then so we got in touch with, I believe it's Adam. I think that was the dude's name. But so
I like you, Adam, if that's your name.
But so he's like, you know, we dropped the can off. We're kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves, but he asked us, he's like, hey, if you guys have an extra barrel, and I was like, yeah, totally. And like next year, if we get to do this again, like we could give them like 10 barrels.
Yeah,
like they
easily.
had so many freaking cans.
Easily.
And what was rad was we went, it was Wednesday when I got back. We went into their camp and we like just roll in, and they've got like the big teepee with, it's basically an LED teepee that's, I think it's 40 feet tall, and they had one that was like 60 feet, and I think it blew over in the wind, so they figured out that like 40 feet was the number, but it's like an LED teepee with a flamethrower.
Yeah, they got propane tanks hooked up with a torch for flames, you know.
But anyways, like this camp, they had this huge party the night before, and this camp had, I think it was like 8 trash bags just full of cans only, and the camp was like spotless though.
I was gonna say that was the best thing. So we came the next day to collect the cans and get everything. I think it was 2 days later. But then everyone we talked to, they're like, dude, this is the first time like you didn't wake up and the entire camp wasn't just a mess. Like people took care. And again, I can't imagine it's from 2 trash like cans that are tongue cans, but like maybe we made a dent of like changing people's opinion of like, I can't be, even if it's as dumb as I can't be seen throwing this on the ground, like it's something. Like,
yeah,
at least you're conscious of it now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're not just unconscious, just throwing stuff around. But like,
totally.
And that's, again, we're not trying to be Boy Scouts. And again, we've all littered, and it's just whatever. Like just owning it and just trying to do better. Like just trying to be better every day. And like, I struggle with a lot of different things, but like, one of the things is like you just have to try. Like you got to show up.
Totally.
Like, or doing nothing doesn't do anything.
No, and that like, bro, let's bring it back. So like the whole talk that we had back in our like Shark Tank at the Hammer headquarters, where we're explaining our plan, we were like, hey, we saw a problem. This is our solution, and Badlands Good Times, with the help of all of our buddies that helped us and all these companies, we're gonna man it, and we're gonna handle it. Like, we don't want you guys to do anything. Like, we're gonna tell you.
We didn't ask for trash bags. We brought everything.
Yeah, like we didn't want. You literally told them, you're like, I don't want you guys to do anything. We're gonna manage it, and they're kind of like eyeballing us, like you guys really think you can pull this off? And they were concerned with, like, we wanted to have a bunch more cans at Chocolate Thunder and Backdoor, and they were like, well, what's your plan as far as like chaining them up? And like, I didn't even think about that. I'm like,
they thought they were gonna get stolen. Like,
yeah, and so we kind of, just for this like first year, we kind of, I think, dialed it back like a little more than we had planned.
And what I told them during the conversation when they're asked those questions is like, hey, look, we're doing this we're starting it off kind of on our off weekend. We really didn't get the cans out there until Saturday of the desert race. And most people left Sunday, and you guys left on Sunday. And so then it was like Monday, Tuesday were a really soft start for the cans that were out and away from booths. But I told them, I was like, look, if we roll up and there's a can that's out of control, like we can't manage it, there's too much trash, people are using it improperly, we'll just take the can away. Yeah, we'll just pull it. Okay, then if that can's not working there. So most of the cans were actually really well organized. There was some stuff like people would throw a party, I'm sure, at Hammertown at night, and then they used any trash can they could find next to them. And to be honest, like I don't knock anyone for putting trash in our can crushers, because King of the Hammers uses the VP fuels for all of their trash cans. Yeah, we didn't know that. Yeah, we didn't know that, and so that was one thing that Chris, the British dude, was saying. Like,
he's like, maybe you should spray paint, like, basically, make it kind of different. And I was like thinking like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? And then I realized when I'm walking through Hammertown delivering barrels that their trash cans are fucking VP race fuel barrels.
Not thousands, but like a lot.
Like, a lot. Yeah. So hindsight, I was like, oh shit, yeah, we probably should have made them a different color or something. I mean, I figured the can crusher and the hole in the top, so you couldn't fit a pizza box, but anyway.
They figured out how to put a pizza box in.
Yeah. But so anyway, so after we dropped the barrels off, we dropped the barrel off at Hammertown. We jammed out to Tommy TT Motorsports' house in Lucerne.
Yeah, now we're going back to like making the barrels again.
Sure.
So,
but so they were all there, and then so once we got there on that Friday before the desert race, then we had to go out and get them, and we came up with this idea after.
After we had dropped off the original 20 at Tommy's.
Yeah.
We, what I like saying is like we were like, these need to be mounted on hitches.
Well, yeah, because once we had this whole plan to just leave like a bunch of them at Chocolate Thunder and Backdoor, and then they kind of like, I don't want to say they scared us off, but
100%.
they kind of were brought to our attention like, hey, these things are going missing, and even like on Instagram, people were like, oh, those barrels are gonna go missing, and I was like jokingly like, oh, we got them geotagged, bro, like we're gonna find you. Yeah. Somehow none of them went missing though. No. But so
we locked up one, and it honestly didn't even need it.
Yeah, but so we that Friday before the desert race, we went back out to Tommy's to go pick up the trailer, and then 4 of them we were gonna do hitch mounts. Yeah. And Tommy, bless his heart, is like, bro, I got the metal for you. You're good to go. Apparently, the previous owner of his property owned a Radio Shack, and so he had all this like shelving that was part of Radio Shack.
And it ended up being 2x2. Like kind of. It was like 2x2 by like different. I don't know. It's not a square, but it's like it almost looked like a clover. It's like 2x2, but not really. It was just enough to hold a barrel in the back of your truck.
Yeah, so I have like video of you going through the whoops with that on the back of your Bronco, and the thing's just flopping around like a salmon back there, and that you didn't even go through the whoops fast, and that all the welds exploded, and it was so the hitch mounted cans. We need some work on that,
but it was fun having them on the back. Yeah, it was cool because literally you could just drive. We could like we'll plate them in. The welds were not good. Yeah. But next year we'll have a few of them plated properly where you could actually drive with them.
Well, so we had I think the ticket was Caleb brought like a hitch mounted like basket, like kind of like one of the ones you can get at like Harbor Freight, like to put firewood on or whatever. You had like a custom one made that could fit 2 barrels. That we strapped him down with like heavy duty straps, and when we drove him all the way out for the Baja Designs taco night that we did.
That was great.
That was the ticket. That was way better than the hitch mounted. So we
it was so sketch.
But yeah, so we distributed all the barrels that Saturday and made sure met with all the people, and that was kind of an interesting deal with like you go like say we went to SDHQ and met with like Dan 200, and he's like all stoked. We made him tell a bad dad joke. Yeah. And, he was like totally on the up and up, what's going on. And then like, I remember going to Warren, and it's like, you have got the situation where it's like Warren, I think was set up through Tate, and basically
which is through Fred Williams.
Yeah. So it's like, you have like this game of telephone. Yeah. So I'm talking.
And then I emailed a guy. He probably wasn't even there when Elliot showed up. I wasn't there.
Yeah. So I tell like, I'm there like dropping off a barrel with a little wagon, and I'm like, hey,
walking around.
I'm like, hey, I'm here to drop the barrel off. And the chick at Warren's looking at me like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm trying to sell t-shirts. And I'm just like, I'm just going to leave it here. Like, you don't need to do anything, but I'm just telling you I'm dropping it off. And everybody was super cool, but it's just kind of funny where you have, like, especially with, like, the big companies where, I don't want to say the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, but you have, like, a marketing person that's not telling the salespeople what's going on.
It's such a small piece of their, like, just us ourselves getting the King of the Hammers just with our own stuff is hard enough. let alone somebody going out there for work and all the BS that goes into like getting there. And then some dude with a wagon, my little wagon.
he's got a flag.
Can I put my trash can on you?
And the guy's just like, bro, what are you doing? What is that? Yeah. But anyway, so that was cool.
Which was cool. Luckily, it was like their spot was, again, they didn't know too much about it, but like their spot was next to Loose and Lost, which knew all about it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, it was cool. But it was funny, like you're saying, like you always kind of think everyone's dialed in because when you go to these events, it's like, dude, everyone's barely getting there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so were we, like, and that's something we didn't even go into. Like, so after we dropped the cans off at Tommy's, like 3 weeks prior, then you're working on your Bronco.
Like dash home. Like I haven't touched the thing.
Yeah, you got it back from Mikey, and it still needed a bunch of shit. And then I'm like, hey, my 4Runner, it's a great time to swap these axles. Put on 37s, 529 gears.
Not axles, like the axle.
No, like whole axle
like the entire housing, brakes.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
You had a good issue with brakes, didn't you?
Oh, brakes. Yeah, that one of the I had
into a 5-hour night.
Yeah, it was like you're one strip fitting away from a 3-hour job or a 3-day job or however that goes. But yeah, so I finally get the axle swapped in, and that was a whole fiasco because on the Toyotas, the old axle had the IFS hubs. The new axle had solid axle hubs, which for you non-Toyota folk, there's a difference in width. Well, I have wheel spacers, so I'm like, oh, that'll make up some of the width. It won't be a big deal. But I put the wheels on that I got from you with the bead grip, and the center of the wheel is
705s.
Not going to work over those solid axle snouts.
So the reason is the hub bore is correct, but it tapers down at the end, like the face of the wheel, so that you can snap the center cap in. So it's like the taper is like, I don't know how many millimeters or centimeters or quarter of an inch, whatever it is. It just tapers down enough where it stops you from being able to mount the wheel properly.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things where I've had the wheels for like, I don't know, fucking year and a half maybe. Had 2 years. Had the 37s for 2 years. Had them just chilling here at the shop.
Same with the Switch Pros?
Yeah. No, the Switch Pros was 4 years. But so anyways, I'm like, I'm just going to rush to get this done. Like, it'll be cool to have the 37s on and the new wheels. Like, we're doing the King of the Canners thing. Like, I just wanted to do it. And then I'm like, get them mounted. I'm all stoked and go to put them on. And I'm like, oh, fuck, these aren't going to fit. And then so I hit up Mikey, Fab Lab, and he's like, oh, yeah, I've had to deal with this before. Like, what we can do is I can make you a jig on the plasma table. And basically we use, because they're aluminum, you could use like a wood router to basically grind them out. And I'm like, okay, that'll work. And then so long story short, I'm like looking at these axles and I'm like, fuck, I could just swap the hubs. So I end up just having to swap the hubs. But this is like if you've ever pulled hubs apart on any axle, it's like messy. It's like a half a day, like 6-hour job if you're just doing one axle.
Not using power tools on the little tiny Allen keys.
It was just a total clusterfuck. But anyways, I get it all together. I'm like down to the point of I just need to bleed the brakes, and so I'll go to bleed the brakes, and I drag my wife out of the house, and I'm like, hey babe, like can you help me bleed the brakes? Like we're just gonna do a 1, 2, 3 pump. And you hold, and then I'll even put on some country music. And I'm not a country music fan. This guy's a country music guy. My wife, big country music gal. So anyways, I put on country music.
This is basically what his Valentine's Day looks
like.
Like he's like, babe, this counts as your Valentine's Day. So we're putting this music on.
But so she's sitting in the 4Runner, waiting for me. I crack the rear line, and the fucking thing's full of mud, like the little bleeder where it's supposed to shoot out of. And I'm like, shit. So I pull it out. Get both sides out because this truck spent some time under mud. This is like the old crawler.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I get
these weren't fresh, brand new Spider Track.
Yeah, no,
$20,000-$30,000 axle.
A shit box that I bought off of Facebook or not Facebook.
You bought the whole truck for the axles, basically.
Yes, for the drivetrain.
Sure.
Anyway, so I'm down. I get the rears done. I get the passenger side done. It's all good. And I'm like, babe, we're going to be done in just a few moments here. Thanks so much. And I go to crack that last line, and it looked like somebody chewed on it. Like, I don't even know what happened.
You're talking about the bleeder.
Yeah, the bleeder.
Like the small little bleeder that you hope isn't rusted enough to strip.
10 millimeter had already been stripped, and I'm like, all right, yeah, no big deal. I'll just get the vice grips out. And so put some vice grips on it. And I, of course, my good vice grips are in the Mouse, which was here in Moore Park, like 10 miles away. And it's like 10 o'clock at night,
we just talked about taking the time to get the right tool.
Yeah, so I had Harbor Freight vice grips, but they you clamp down and the jaws go sideways, and I'm just like, fuck. So anyways, I'm like, babe, this is going to be a bit. So she just gets out of the truck.
Yeah.
Like an hour later, I finally get it. Anyways, got it done. And you had your own battles as well, didn't you?
Yeah, small. I mean, I had I just had to order stuff kind of last minute, like a rotor cap, and not order, but go pick it up.
Sure.
You're starting a project, and there was wiring stuff I was trying to do with the Switch Pros, and I just wanted to get it all dialed in properly, and I didn't want to just string it together where there's a wire hitting your face while you're driving down the road or something. But no interior, no nothing, but not the same disheartening of a strip bolt.
Yeah.
You're I'm supposed to drive this
yeah.
a lot.
Well, and that was the thing. So I didn't even really have time because I had just got the brakes done, and then I still needed to do the shock mounts on the rear axle. And so I'm not a welder, not a big fab guy. I actually have a welder that I'm working on getting set up, but I have a flux core that was in good working order, but I'm just dude, I'm just going to throw these shocks on. I have some tabs that I had cut off with the old axle. And so anyways, I get one side done. It's good. And I go to do the other side the next night. And I'm a dad. I'm dealing with I'm making dinner with the kids and hanging out and, trying to not be a total shitbag. Yeah. Actually being there. And I'm doing this after they go to bed.
Exactly. And your kid's running in going, Dad, you see what my lizard did? You're like, I can't talk about the lizard right now.
But so it's 2 nights before we're supposed to fucking leave for Hammers. And the best part about it is before we're supposed to leave, but I'm not even taking this truck. I'm taking the other truck.
Yeah.
And so I'm
it's dialed though.
But I'm just and then I'm just having the question, I think a lot of us ask, why didn't I do this 6 months ago when there was no time crunch? Yeah. Why?
I got this done in 5 days.
Yeah. And and then I posted on Instagram about it, kind of joking, just making fun of myself. And it's oh yeah, dude, same. Yeah. Everybody, not everybody, but many people do the same shit. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the excitement of a trip.
You need a deadline.
Yeah.
You just need a deadline. That's it.
But anyways, I, of course, go to do the driver's side mount, and the welder fucking just jams up. And it's 11 at night, and I'm just I'm about to fucking throw this thing. And I'm just fuck this. So the morning I'm supposed to leave to, and this is, the morning I'm supposed to come out to King of the Hammers, basically I end up hitting up Mikey. I'm like, yo, dude, can I come by the shop real quick and have you just blast this on? And keep in mind, these shocks are coming off because I want to redo it.
This is just to get you for, call it 7 days at Hammers.
And say what you will about flux core and my shitty welding, but that shock mount didn't fall off, and I beat the shit out of the truck.
Yeah, we had our buddy kept losing shock mounts. His shock mounts were wrong because he was bottoming out on the bypass to do the Bronco.
Oh yeah. Bronco pack.
He put new shocks on it and didn't realize that the bodies were longer, so he broke 2 shock mounts while he was out there. He's all bummed. But
anyways,
no, it's just funny because you need that deadline, you need that crunch, you need that push to get things done. Again, I sat there the same thing. I had my Bronco, obviously I've been having it 7 years now, but I also had the Switch Pros for 4 years. I had the everything and all the things they put on it, all the lights, the ball design lights, and I put LP6s on it, and everything. I can't do this up. Was done last minute.
Mm-hmm.
and like the Bronco had been sitting with all those parts in the garage for that long. Like, could have been done years ago. It's just part of it.
Well, and I was actually thinking about it. So, like, the Switch Pros thing, like, in my head, I was like, I basically was just thinking that it was going to be such a, like, cumbersome task. And it's like, because I've, done, like, on the mouse, like, I remember how big of a deal, like, the wiring is. Like, when you're building a truck, you're like, you're budgeting, right? And you're like, metal, this much, shocks, kit, suspension, devers, whatever you're doing. And then you're like, wiring, $250. And then you dig into it, and then you end up, if you do it properly with good switches, you get like different colored wire, the whole thing. It ends up being not only expensive, but also super time consuming. Yeah. So knowing that, I was like,
you don't want to even dive into it. Because you just know the nuance of like, I gotta pull every panel off. I've got to run the wiring properly because if I like,
and you want to do it right because once you've like
to the best of your ability. Correct. When you say right, like, sorry, I'm interrupting on that. Like, I do everything to the best of my ability. No, it's not. It's not even good, but it's not bad. It's not. It's not wire ties.
It's not wire ties.
I had to use wire ties last night.
Stop.
On my camper.
Oh, okay. Well, that's.
I mean, because that's how they are made, like for the heater. And I was just like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to use wire ties right now. Like, I didn't have to. I could have. I just wanted the thing to work.
Sure.
Anyways.
No, but anyway, so like I put it off, like especially the Switch Pros. Like I wanted to put that in the Tacoma, and then I was just like, nah, I don't. I just didn't want to go down that road. And then so with the 4Runner, I was like, oh, I'm going to put this in the 4Runner. And then so once I finally pull it out of the box and I'm like, okay, this is going, I had like 4 working circuits within 2 hours. And I was like,
fast.
Oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Yeah. And then what a good.
It's a great product.
If you're thinking about picking up one of those, it is worth it. Like as far as just how clean and simple it is.
All right, we're getting to the point. Real quick, we'll jump back on that in a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Our cameras, which I really don't understand, are really annoying. So when you have a camera that is not a video specific camera only, they stop filming at 30 minutes. It's the most annoying thing. Anyways, on top of that, I had to pee like crazy.
Eyeballs were floating.
I'm sure you guys are seeing me squirm in my chair. I'm just like, are we good? Can we looking like a meth head? Just like,
yeah, it's fine. But yeah, so we were talking about the Switch Pros.
Yeah. So just getting the right tool though, which comes back to like me last night with my Oldsmobile. It's like, it used to be such a hassle, and you would just like hammer through it, and you would make it work, and like using a little small switch panel and all the relaying grounds and everything, and then you run it to a fuse box, and then you run that fuse to a relay, it's just like Switch Pros, dude.
Literally run power to it, ground it. Run the switch wire.
Let me dive into it. So like again, you mount the item in the engine bay. It's waterproof. The whole thing's waterproof. Okay. You plug a 4-wire pin to it, which it comes with obviously. That's your pin group that goes to your switch panel, your Switch Pros. It's on your dash. So you have to drill one hole about this big, goes to your dash. And then you just plug wires directly to it and ground them on the chassis.
No, well, it has 2 plugs. It has the harness.
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, the harness. One harness is the 4-wire harness is specifically to go through the dash to your mount, and then there is an 8 plug. Like there's an 8-wire.
We're such idiots. We should have probably a Switch Pros dude come on and maybe talk.
Brandon, let's chat about this. Anyways, but either way,
it's so easy a caveman could do it.
But your bigger, so some of the switches, there's 4 switches that I think are 30 amp, and then the other ones are 20 amp.
I think it's 35 amp, but yeah.
Okay, so then those ones come with 2 wires. So like I wired the 2, or you could probably wire 4. 4 LP6s on the front off one switch. So you push one switch, and again, that comes with 2 wires. It's just dial, dude. It's like so easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
And like I did the dumb thing of like overthinking it and not reading the instructions because there's plenty of them. And thinking I went on like, and I watched some Toyota video, and they have everything gone back to a fuse block and this, that, and the other. And they make this whole panel thing. And I started making all this stuff for it because I didn't talk to anyone that night before. And I called Brennan from Switch Pros. And he's like, no, that just makes it not waterproof. Like, he's like, you don't need any of that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's all built into it. Like, all that stuff is garbage. What are you doing?
Well, yeah.
They just talk to me like I'm like, yeah, I'm not smart.
Well, and then so like the cool thing, and it may sound kind of lame to be stoked on this, but like, okay, you've got the switch panel on your dash. Obviously, you could put the little stickers on it and, whatever it's for. But wait, there's more. It's like Billy Mays. Yeah. Then you have the app for your phone, so you could use your phone as a additional switch panel. And then it's like, okay, let's say your dust light. Let's say you wanted it to strobe. You can make it strobe.
Yeah.
You can make it turn on with the battery.
It's so many things. Like,
it's rad.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough about that. That's a whole nother.
But that was just us getting there. Like these were things that we're putting on our vehicles so we could have like it's just a good time to do it because you would enjoy. Like I was going to be out there for 10 days. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted my lights and everything to be dialed because you drive a lot at night at King of the Hammers. Not fast, but like I don't. But like you're driving around a lot at night, so I wanted all my lights. I have the whip mount and all the other BS now that I find value in. Mm-hmm. But it was great. It was fun getting it all dialed in, trying to do my best, putting the radio in from rugged and all that kind of stuff. Like my truck, so for me at least, and kind of you too, like you've used the 4Runner a few times, but this is kind of one of the first real big trips for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, I had just gotten the Bronco. The only thing I had done in the Bronco is go to the gas station and back, and that was it. That's as far as I've driven it. And I put like 200 miles on it out at King of the Hammers. That most of it was kind of just cruising back and forth and like, oh, we're gonna run over to this hill, not actually driving it fast off road, but like it was bare bones. It had never had anything in it, so like it didn't have any type of way to wire up lights. It was just a good time to like start fresh and start with something so simple and easy.
Well, it's like a do it right the first time scenario.
Yeah, and luckily I just had it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was stoked on it, and getting out there was its own mission. Like again, you don't just get out there in your Bronco or your vehicle. Like then I had my camper. It's like, dude, my camper was pretty dialed. It was like the first time I took it out, like thing needed nothing. I tested the heater 3 times that week. 3 times. 3 different nights I went out there and just made sure the thing worked because it was making noise and it was kind of like a slow start, and I could tell the motor was not happy. And I was like, dude, it's worked 3 times. It's going to be good. So I didn't order a new motor. Literally the day I get there, the motor doesn't work. It's like it's locked up. It's like it gave up.
No.
Oh, you want me?
Nah,
good. Fuck. So you're not just prepping that. You're camping. You're getting all your camping stuff. You're doing this, and I'm going to like, dude, I'm gonna be out there 10 days. Like I know the store's not that far away, but like I kind of don't want to have to go to the store for something. It's like you want it all there.
Well, and like going back to it, it's like you have. Like everyone that went out there as a spectator, you've got your vehicle, if you've got a truck or, trailer and then your RV, but so do we. And then we also have all this fucking cans and then we're worried about, we didn't bring any merch out there or anything like that. We brought just, stickers, whatever. We brought had to make sure we brought like the sackets and that stuff. But
anyone that was helping to support Howl, it's like, one, by the way, I'm going to bring this Howl thing up right now. It's like, you guys actually saved me a ton of time because it had rained a crazy amount in that week prior. Like that week of, like, remember there was the Mud Fest, everyone's freaking out with King of the Hammers. Like, none of the firewood in front of my house, like, it's just on the ground in the dirt, in the mud. Like, it would not have been great to bring. I would have brought it anyways and threw it on a hot fire, but it was not ideal to pack and then figure out how to get it up there. Like,
sure.
And I wasn't bringing a truck. I was bringing a Bronco. So I don't have a truck bed just to throw the wood in anymore. Dude, like, And I know this is sales pitchy, and this thing's not cheap, but it seriously like saved the day. Like 3 trucks, like me, you, and Scott, like we didn't have to worry about firewood at all. Like that wasn't like in a big camp setting, a big fire pit is rad. But again, just as far as packing and getting out to King of the Hammers, you bring this and a propane tank.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it starts right away and it gets hot.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one. This thing is pretty rad for the like when you go out to the hill, like you go to Chocolate Thunder, and then you know we've done many years where we will bring firewood out, and then you're waiting for the fire to produce any warmth for probably I don't know 5, let's say 10 minutes before it's actually doing anything.
And do any of you people that are watching this have like a girl that you hang out with that loves being cold?
Yeah. But so like having this thing was rad to bring out and like you know it's not instant warmth but it's like I would say within 2-3 minutes this thing's cooking.
Yeah.
And what else was I gonna say? Like I definitely don't think that if you've got like our group that we were rolling around with was like 15-20 people.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna cut it for that many people. It's not gonna replace your major fire, but like. If you've got, I think this thing's like supposed to be for like 4 people or whatever. So you have like a family.
Like literally right now, me and Elliot going like, "Hey, dude, let's go for a rip out. Maybe we're doing a scouting mission or something like that. And it's just the 2 of us."
It's pretty.
This thing's like, there's no way I'm bringing firewood, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but like now it's here.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm packing firewood. It's just too annoying. Like, and not that I don't love a good campfire. I'm not saying like campfires suck. They're great.
Yeah.
It's just like. When you're talking about going fast in like a pre-runner, like there's nothing better than having less things that move.
Sure. Well, and then so that's another thing. Like their whole deal is like it's sendable or shreddable. Basically, you can strap it down. It's got solid tie down points. You could strap the propane tank to the unit itself, and then you could strap it down to your bed. Like on the Mouse, we have. We strapped it down to the rack where the rooftop tent usually sits. And dude, I mean, I was going pretty good. I mean, and no problem. So,
and I strapped it a little differently down in the Bronco. I just kind of basically strapped it next to the tire, which is pretty wild. Like the thing doesn't, we're getting too pitchy in this, but like, it's just cool. Like it's cool. It's like, it's literally engineered extremely well.
Dude, it may be a thing where we need to have those dudes on and have them talk about it.
And again, like, this thing is a $1,300 fire. I understand it sounds ridiculous, but like, one is we use this. I use this every single day for hours a day. Like I brought it to my booth because it was cold as tits out there.
Yeah, and
we stood around that thing, and everyone in the Fox booth was so stoked.
Sure. To
have this. Like seriously, it was such a game changer. Like, and again, that's just one aspect, but like I really did use this thing nonstop throughout the week, and it was mounted inside my Bronco the whole time. Like it was easy to use. Like
just a big Hal guy now. You got the hat and glasses, the whole deal.
I'd pay money for it. Like, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but like it's because I didn't know. Like I didn't realize how annoying firewood was because that's what you go to a camp and you have a fire pit.
Again, I don't think it replaces the fire. Like you have you were going out to Thanksgiving and we have 40 people or 100 people or whatever. You need to have everyone needs to bring wood.
Okay, but like, here's a better example of like when this like we've recently and we used to not when we were just single dudes hanging out going camping. Say single, not having kids, and so like say right now like you have your big main fire pit, but it's Saturday morning on day number 3 or whatever, and you're cooking breakfast, and it's cold. You're not bringing all your stuff to cook next to a fire. Do you really want to have a big fire? I'm just saying, like, if we're cold, like this thing's getting turned on immediately. Like seriously, like no matter what, like we're like, oh, I'm gonna bring the Howl over here, like And I know how ridiculous this sounds. I promise you, I know how ridiculous this sounds. But it's cool. Like I'm a believer now. It took a minute.
It's so cool. We're hanging out with it, and it's off right now. That's how cool it is.
Oh my god, that's pitchy. But it was on. Honestly, I'd have it on right now if it wasn't for the microphone.
It's just too loud.
But
the thing rips.
It's rad. Like it's again. I know we're getting in the weeds here of overselling it, but like
might have to edit some of that out. But anyways, we did King of the Canners, and so I don't even know where we're at this point in the story, but basically we got out there, we got all the barrels out there, we got them stickered up, we got them delivered to all the different companies in Hammertown, and then all the different camps like Ultra 3, Wilkie,
Eisenhower's, kind of combined.
And we had Terry Madden had one. He brought his.
Yeah.
We had
one at Shear's camp.
Shear. Did the Bent?
No, we couldn't.
We never found them.
Camp. We tried multiple days. If you haven't been out to Hammers, it's so ridiculous. But
yeah,
we tried.
Even with Starlink, we still couldn't get a hold of people. And then Ryan Podell and their 1776 Racing, they had one. That's not the name of their team, is it? Anyways,
it's another race.
Another race team, and yes, we got them all distributed. And then at that point, it was kind of like it was like a crock pot. It was like a set it and forget it, kind of sorta. Even though we had to empty them every day.
Kinda, yeah. But the first couple days were pretty soft,
yeah.
And then the week ramps up, and so we had a. Then we were on kind of can duty, and at least just being mindful of it, because again, some cans would fill up slightly more than the others. Like Rugged would fill up more because people are they're getting their cars tuned there, so they're standing around a lot more, so therefore they curate more.
Well, and it was right by like an entrance, right? So that was another.
I think it's because people go there to get their cars tuned.
Got it.
Like they get their radios checked and worked on. If you're a vendor at any of these events, like you want to park your vendor booth literally next to PCI or Rugged radios, like because people are hanging out there all day long. Because like radio comms are like the most annoying thing to get dialed in, or it's the worst thing to not have working when you're racing.
Sure.
So those usually are the only like techie booths that like people have their cars stay at for a while. Therefore, the team's hanging around the car. Therefore, you're going to get the best interaction with people. So as a vendor, choose to park next to those.
That's your pro tip.
Pro tip.
There you go.
But we got there. We made it to Hammers. You were like an uneventful trip out there, right? Like getting your stuff out.
Chill.
Like I was a little sketched out. Like I need to like check my wheel bearings on the trailers. Like stuff you just like. I'm going to get to it. Like this is one of my checklists before I get there, and then you're like 2 days before, you're like, that is not important.
Yeah, my Switch Pros is more important.
This is the most important thing in my life right now.
Oh man,
it's wild. Like I don't know why do we put such a pressure on like the outcome of the event? Like getting there.
Well, I think it was just like we wanted to do a good job. We came up with the plan, and we pitched it to all the Hammers people, and we said we were going to do it. And it's like that personal accountability of like, we said something, so we got to follow through.
And that I think the personal accountability is pretty important there, because like if we failed, no one else cared but us.
No, exactly.
Like, no one else cares. And we couldn't have failed.
No, but I mean, but if it's like if some of the trash cans were overflowing and we were a problem for the Hammers people, I mean, I don't know that we're gonna get to do this again. I mean, I hope so, but I'm looking at it like I didn't want to give them any negative feedback about what we wanted what we're doing to be only positive.
Correct.
And so I think we executed that fairly well.
Yeah.
And then, obviously had a good time doing it. And I mean, I think that's, almost a whole nother, hour segment in itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could end here in that topic. Is like, it's for us, guys that have been going out to the desert, both you and I kind of had newer trucks this trip, but it was still kind of the same desert trip that we've always done. And I think it's like, and I was telling this to Randy today at Road and Truck, like it's actually really fun having a reason to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we had, the Overland Experience, we had at Cantu. They were parked really far away and everything. And it was like, you guys, hey, we got to go check this can out, Overland Experience, or drop it off, or whatever we were doing at the time. We had to go check it. And like, it was like 5 cars. You know, everyone drives themselves, like somewhere to go, like something to do.
Yeah.
Like, you can go look at the hill so many times, especially if you're out there all week. But like, no, we got a thing we actually have to do, which was, it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like,
we're involved, and it was like obviously self-inflicted, but you're out there with a purpose rather than just kind of standing around like, oh, let's go here, let's go there, let's go check Hammer. Like, we're gonna go to Hammertown and check it out, but we're there on a mission.
Yeah,
and that makes it for us fun.
It's fun. Yeah, like I'm not good at planning things in general, so it's kind of good to have like a pre-planned mission out there. And we're just stoked to have all our friends and everyone else that helped us participate with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's one thing I want to say. Like Scott with the Red 4Runner, DeCurtis, dude, legend for helping us. Lutz, with your Defender, dude, thank you so much.
Hummer tours out of Pismo. So if you guys are in Pismo and you're trying to get your family some thrills, the dude and his crew are insane drivers, and they'll definitely give you the experience, even if it's in like a stock Hummer. Yeah, like it's definitely a wild ride still.
Absolutely. And then Metro, thank you so much. And you brought your buddy Cody with you. You guys were instrumental. And then who else? We had Scott's dad was out there helping.
Hose B,
dude, legend. He was there from the get-go at Tommy's house, helping us load them all up,
giving us koozies,
and he was with me when we almost lost the barrels when we left Tommy's house. We didn't even get into that, but we almost did a barrel delete. Yeah. Luckily, we figured that out. But and anybody else that we're missing?
Oh, I'm sure Caleb.
Oh yeah, Caleb, of course, the meat man.
Dude, that, by the way, you're. I want to say you're meat. I don't want to say that. But your porter. He gave me a porterhouse, or I stole it from Elliot's fridge. And it was after Hammers. It was like my meal, but like, okay, I'm done. And like, I cooked a porterhouse for myself.
It's fire.
Yeah, it's delicious. Anyways, Caleb, anybody that was in our camp, Jeff from Giant, everybody was helpful in some.
Mark, was it Mark with the Bronco? With the
Bronco.
He helped us out. One of the cans was full at backdoor, and he's like, dude, I just swapped a new bag in. Thanks, bro. We're like, thank you.
Yeah, Mark lives close to me. I hope to actually befriend the guy. Like, he invited me over like on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm like mid deep my Oldsmobile. I can't.
Right. And then obviously all the companies that gave us a chance and let us put a barrel at your zone.
And big thanks to Ball Designs, honestly, for the night run thing that we put on with the forum. I wanted to give back to the company that's helping us out in any way. So, we've worked with them, more friendly with them in a personal level. I hang out with those guys. But like anybody that wants to work with us in any capacity, like, or if we can work with you guys, like we did it for free. Like we just want to hang out and have a good time. Like we're gonna do this kind of stuff anyway. So the Ball Designs party was really fun. I think we'll just end this on a little clip of what our night looked like. We had the limo out there. We had Wilkie.
I still can't believe the
showing up with his badass Bronco. Yeah, the limo's legit, dude. And then, the whole Ball Designs crew and the PRP guys and everyone that showed up. Yeah. We had like 100 people show up, I think. I don't know the number, but
30 pounds of taco meat, it all sold.
Yeah, it was all sold.
Yeah.
You better like what you get because it was free.
Yeah. The price was right.
But it was just fun. It was a fun way to kind of restart the week off for you guys, but like kind of like reignite the week because it was on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, I'm just super thankful for everything. It's pretty cool to be, as Elliot likes to put it, in the mix.
Totally. Yeah. But anyways, let's cap it there and to be continued.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, you beauties.
Till the next one. Let's turn this thing on real quick. It's kind of cold.